Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready to set sail on another deep dive with us?
Always ready. What intriguing depths are we plumbing today?
Well, today we're taking on a text that, well, you probably think you know. It's the story of Noah's Ark.
Ah, classic, timeless tale.
Right, but here's the twist. We're not just skimming the surface of the flood narrative. We're going deep into the aftermath.
The aftermath. Okay, I like it. I feel like that part often gets, glossed over.
Exactly. Genesis chapter 8, that's where we're dropping anchor. And let me tell you, there's some seriously profound stuff in there about God's relationship with humanity, with the world.
You're right. Most people, they know the flood, the ark, the animals, all that. But what happens after that deluge? That's where things get really interesting, theologically speaking. At least to me, that is.
100%. So to really grasp the weight of it all, we gotta set the stage, right? Picture this. Noah, his family, all those cooped up critters, they're finally stepping off the ark after the floodwaters recede. But what kind of world are they stepping into? It's not just soggy.
It's a whole new world. Talk about a hard reset. Imagine it. I mean, really imagine it. The silence, the stillness. After years of nothing but, torrential storms and the creaking of that ark, it's got to be a completely disorienting, overwhelming experience for them.
Right. It's like the world as they knew it, gone, wiped clean.
Yeah.
And what happens next? It's not some instantaneous poof, everything's back to normal. Genesis paints this very deliberate, gradual picture of things being restored, of life returning.
And even more than that, I think. I think what we see in those early verses of chapter 8, it's like watching creation wake up after this long, deep sleep. You've got the waters receding bit by bit, day by day. And then that dove, returning with the olive branch.
Okay, got to pause you there for a second. That dove, that olive branch, those are some loaded symbols.
Really, you can't just skip over that. I mean, think about it. The olive branch, especially back then in the ancient Near East, it was the symbol of peace, of new beginnings.
So Noah sees that, and what? It's like a sign, like a message from God. It's got to be.
Right.
It's this little glimmer of hope in this utterly transformed world. Like, hey, even after all that chaos, peace is still possible. It's incredible, really.
And it's interesting because Noah, he doesn't just send out the dove willy-nilly. First, it's the raven, right? What's that about?
Good catch. Yeah, first the raven, then the dove. See, I think that detail, it speaks to this tension, this back and forth between uncertainty and hope that Noah must be grappling with.
Because the raven, it's often linked with the unknown, with, I don't know, maybe even a little bit of darkness.
For sure. And it doesn't come back with anything. But then that dove, the symbol of peace, new beginnings, it returns, and it's got that olive branch. It's like Noah's actively searching, actively seeking out those signs of life, those signs of hope. And then we get to this pivotal moment in chapter 8, verses 15 to 22. God speaks, and it's not just, "Hey Noah, good to have you back." God lays down a promise, a covenant.
Yeah, and that's huge. We gotta define our terms here. A covenant, it's not just some casual promise.
Yeah.
In the ancient Near East, a covenant was a binding agreement.
Yeah.
A sacred oath.
Serious business.
Oh yeah, you break a covenant, you were in for it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's God making the covenant, which makes it even more weighty. It's like the ultimate promise, one that God is bound to uphold.
And it's not just a promise to Noah, right? It's to the whole world. While the earth remains, God says, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night, they shall not cease. That's creation itself being guaranteed.
Right. God is basically hitting reset on the rhythms of creation. After all that destruction, God is saying, look, life will go on, the world, it's going to keep spinning. And here's what gets me. God makes this promise knowing full well that humanity, we aren't always so great.
That's what's blowing my mind right now. It's like God is looking at humanity, knowing we're capable of messing up, of making terrible choices, and yet this promise, this covenant, it still stands.
It's almost like God is saying, I know you're going to stumble. I know you won't always get it right. But my commitment to creation, to this world, to you, it's not dependent on your perfection. My grace, it's bigger than your mistakes.
It makes you think, right? What does that kind of radical grace mean for us? Here we are thousands of years after Noah, still benefiting from those rhythms of nature God put back in motion. Seed time, harvest, those seasons, they haven't stopped. So what's our responsibility?
Right. It makes you really look at those changing seasons, those cycles of planting and reaping, of growth and dormancy in this whole new light. God's promise, it's woven into the very fabric of the natural world. So, Yeah, I think it definitely begs the question, are we living in a way that honors that covenant?
It's a powerful thing to consider. And here's a final thought, something to chew on. That covenant, the one we just talked about, it highlights the fact that seasons, they're not going anywhere. And when you really think about it, those seasons, they kind of mirror those themes of destruction, renewal that we see throughout Noah's story, don't they? Makes you appreciate that natural world in a whole new way.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Toby, Eleanor, and our team of researchers are working hard to produce more episodes. If you value what we're doing here, please consider subscribing and sharing the word. Additionally, our podcast, RSS, and Patreon links can be found below. Listener support is what makes our work possible. Join us next time for another deep dive. God bless.